Did you know that Ada went into the laundry and ate all the cat poop out of the litter box? Under an Ada government, what else will get eaten? Can you afford to find out? Cedric's a good boy and hasn't eaten cat poop for at least 3 months. All Cedric eats is bugs, and that's for helping. Cedric would never run up to a toddler for pats and then suddenly bark in their face and run away. Would you vote for a dog that would? Would you vote for a dog that has to wear shoes when she goes for a walk? If she hides her feet, what else is she hiding?
What did you do with all these people's money, Ada? What did you do with all these people's money? You can't run away from this forever.
Brought to you by the Coalition for Cedric being the best boy.
Hey everybody, how are we today? My voice is getting better. I've only got a slight lisp today. So, we are looking at 3V. And this is going to be an interesting video because a couple of weeks back I did this knife here. This is a Benchmade 200 Pucot and 17-degree mirror polished edge. Now I was comparing it in that instance to the Line Steel Sleipner. That's because the two knives were made for a similar purpose. This is softer stuff. This held an edge for I think 180 rope cuts, which with one of these quite nice mirror polished edges isn't particularly high. This is an earlier series of the Pucot. I do believe that Benchmade may have tweaked it a little bit harder and a little bit better with edge retention lately, but this is one of the earlier Pucots that came out. What I hope this video is going to show is the difference between a more thoughtful or perhaps a more concentrated effort in heat treatment that you're probably only going to get from either production companies that are all about it or from a smaller custom maker. And in this case we have some Erickson KnifeWorks 3V at 62 Rockwell with a very, very nice blade on it, I must say. Again, this is probably going to be one of those all fields coalescing to make a very well performing knife. This is just a presumption at this point because I haven't tested the knife yet. So, what is 3V steel? 3V steel is what you're after if you want something that's going to hold an edge for a decent to good amount of time, but it's also going to have toughness in it. They achieve this toughness by lowering the carbon a little bit, which makes it a little bit less brittle, but it's also retaining vanadium in it. So it's got the same amount of vanadium as, say, S30V steel. It's got that 3% vanadium. So those vanadium carbides are going to hold an edge nicely, but the whole structure of it's going to be a little bit less brittle. Carbon's great for making hard, long-lasting edges and making basically iron into steel, of course. So when you reduce it a little bit, you get a bit more of that ductility. So it'll be interesting to see how 3V goes at a higher Rockwell. So thinking about what I've had yesterday even was S45VN, which had probably about twice the carbon, almost twice the carbon that 3V has, and that cut 580 times with the same amount of vanadium, and that also had some niobium and some nitrogen in it as well. So interested to see how this does at the same Rockwell, same edge angle, but different substance obviously, and also again comparing it to the Benchmade Pucot's 3V, which yeah. That is the end of the test, 180. Probably is on the lower end of edge retention, but it's a darn tough blade to say the least. So it's all about, nothing's right, nothing's wrong, but I obviously prefer edge retention because that's what this is all about, but each to their own, At any rate, we're going to cut twisted sisal rope with this knife. I've gone and resharpened it. Now this knife is a treasure. It's absolutely delightful knife. Someone really correctly pointed out that it's got like a very similar blade to the TRM Atom, just bigger and just such a nice knife. Look at this handle, just like simple, slight sort of arch style. Just a delightful blade. Erickson KnifeWorks, check them out. I'll just show you some up closes of it as well. It's just a delight, absolutely lovely knife. This is definitely staying. Chris sent this across to me. And he was going to say, oh, can you sell this for charity? And I'm like, I'll just donate to charity and buy the knife. That's kind of how we've ended up doing that because it's a keeper, folks. So yeah, we're going to be cutting twisted sisal rope with the same front portion of this blade. Now the blade came really, really well sharpened. Great edge, couldn't fault it, but I did resharpen it to put it down to my 17 degrees. It was at about 18 or 19 or so. Little difference, but It also gives me a bit of sharpening experience as well, and this is a really pleasant knife to sharpen too. I've always found that 3Vs are pretty happy to sharpen steel, using my kit anyway. Whether you can do it as easily on like Arkansas stones or whatever, I'm not sure, but on my KME, quite a good blade to sharpen as well. So I just did a 300, 600, 1500, and then down through my films to 0.1 micron strop, like I do with pretty much all the knives in the knife lab, unless said otherwise. So let's see how much rope it cuts with the same portion of the blade, and we'll get you some numbers on the board for production 3V versus custom 3V. Let's do it. And so, 400 cuts, I reckon. Yep, so the spot that I was using to cut is now no longer happily gliding through the paper as much. Just had to confirm that on a second sheet. Very, very nice. Talking. So, 400. That's the best result I've had on 3V for a good long time, forever I think. Even like cold steels, factory edge was good. It was like 210 or something like that, and that'd be at about 60 or so on the Master Hunter. And obviously looking back at Benchmade, 180 cuts with the same edge, so 17 degree mirror polished, 0.1 micron finish. And I know Rockwell's and everything. There was a good discussion in my last comment video. As I said, I'm not a metallurgist, but there's some guys that are. Chatting down below, or knife makers at least, and yeah, even Rockwell doesn't necessarily mean higher Rockwell may not mean higher edge retention. It's about heat treating it for edge retention, getting the edge in a certain state. Above my pay grade to talk about, I'm sure, but speculation nonetheless. Anyway, so looking at that, I think the clear lesson is that you don't need any degrees or any thing to know is that it seems like if you shop for someone who's taking care per individual knife, maybe doing small batch heat treatment to spec, or even doing their own heat treatment out of experience, you're generally going to get something that holds an edge for a good long time. That being said, I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with this at all. I mean, if you want something that you can resharpen on the bottom of a coffee cup or something, then geez, this stuff would probably do just fine. Yeah, you're going to have to resharpen it more, but I don't know, like, live your dreams, man. Doesn't bother me. But I am just the way that this all works and the way my kind of focus seems to be. I like to know these edge retention numbers and how high they can get. It's just part of how I enjoy the hobby. So that's kind of my advice. If you're after something, you're always going to get some, not always. And look, you might get a knife made by like some dingus who doesn't know what they're doing and get a terribly heat treated knife. But if you shop around a bit or you talk to your maker, you probably get a bit of insight into what you're going to be getting. So I think one of the things I'm going to be trying to do by the end of this year is getting some steels that I've already done. So say I want to hit. It's just going to involve me spending my own money, so it's not going to happen straight away, and I don't want free stuff. So it's just going to be a little goal to put along. I want to hit up Sean from Triple B Handmade, Case Knives, Sweden, Switzerland. Get that right. KK Knives, Switzerland. Two guys who they're chasing that elusive, perfect heat treat, perfect grind. And I have no doubt that either of those two guys, with some of their higher end steels they're using, would be able to win the knife lab. So that's kind of my goal this year. Also, goals is getting a Rockstead Heisen or one of the cheaper Rocksteads. To be able to check if that's all hype or if there's actually something to that as well. So I think we've done so much production stuff. There's good established numbers on production steels. The steels on their own, under your sort of basic generic large production heat treats, you still get some good differences usually between, say, M390 from Wee Knives. It's going to cut about twice as long as 154 cm from Benchmade. You know, you get some decent rules that you can sort of set your watch to. I'm interested now in kind of going into the realm of the bizarre a bit and seeing what these guys can really get out of these steels. Because, I mean, Gary Creeley's Rex 121 knife is still the top of the knife lab with a specific edge, matching up against tungsten carbide, which is a crazy material. So, and Creeley's Rex was at 68, so I know for a fact that Sean over at Triple B can get it up to 70, and I think KK Knives has got it to 71 as far as the Rockwell scale goes. So that sort of stuff is what I'm excited about this year. So we'll see how we go. Get some of these already done steels and see how to make them sing. So a little bit of a goal there. But anyway, that is, I think, what's happening with this 3V. Yeah, it's still not stratospheric number, but remembering this is a steel mainly geared towards toughness. And thinking about the S45 VR knife yesterday, had extra niobium, had about twice the carbon and cut about 180 more times. So that probably makes sense to me in the way my brain works. More of those hardening elements in there to make for a longer lasting edge, even though the Rockwell number was the same. So, anyway, I will leave the rest of the discussion to yourselves in the comments and wherever else, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.